Part 3 Ending of the Glaring Night, other parts down below. Some days I am glad she is gone, some days I miss her terribly. If I have to see her in person it becomes an I miss her day right then and there. If I don't see her it's usually mixed. Today was the first day I have been back to seeing who she is and not missing who she should be. Sadly, she has shown no signs of changing and I doubt she ever will. Wonder how long I can keep this thought in my head before I fall back into missing her again and hoping she will change. Picked up S4 this morning and was early so she wasn't ready. But while I was there, I kept getting the idea she was waiting for me to do something. Even when I left, she said bye, I said bye, and she stood there with a look on her face like she's waiting. I'm not doing anything about it. I'm surprised I was able not to. Hard to resist the urge to try when all she had on was a robe. She had a job fair to go to, but about 40 minutes after I left, I got a text she had the day wrong was yesterday. Not sure, but I think she's fishing for me to see what she's doing the rest of the day because she never goes out of her way to tell me that suddenly she has nothing to do. Going to lunch with my friend instead. Well, S4 is sick, sucks to get him and have him puking all day. In fact, mid-post typing this I had cleaner up to do. But I did text back and forth a bit with the W mostly about S4 being sick. I did take a second to toss in something about this morning. I told her I got the feeling she was waiting for me to say something this morning and other times, and I am not going to, that if she wants to try and resolve our problems, she needs to figure out what she wants and tell me. Until then I'm not going to try and win her back. Spent the entire day with S4 being sick. He is finally feeling better. I talked to her twice today as I let S4 call her once in the afternoon since he wanted to call mom. She is really sick too. I took the time to ask how my SD was doing as she was sick and offered to take SD to a movie next week with me and S4. My SD already said she wanted to go with us to see it, so I plan on taking her. W said it's okay. Not sure, but my offer may have been worded to be inviting them both. Man, I'm bad at watching what I say and worse at remembering it. I might have actually used the words you can come too. I'm bad at this some days. Think her being sick has me feeling bad for her. Just something I thought was funny today. I skimmed over my whole thread and I don't think I could have come up with a better name for it. I am all over the place as to which way I'm going. Also have a question. For a while there I was simply hanging the phone up after S4 said goodnight to her and not speaking to her. Then we had the whole hug, dinner mess. Since then, I have been trying to not be rude and taking the phone and saying he's going to bed, and then we usually talk about him and my SD for a brief minute. This is fine, right? Or should I go back to email and texts only? Goal I am after is her to want to are bad enough to make changes. If that's not going to be on the table, I don't really care to talk to her as it just causes me unneeded pain. When I first got together with my W, she was a smart, confident, independent, and seemed very driven. Once she was out of work, she became depressed and then over the years lazy. Her depression lasted years. She is just barely coming out of it because she is being forced to get up and go out and accomplish something. Sadly, this means that every time I see her, I see the woman I fell in love with but haven't seen in years. I can easily look back at how she left and how unhappy I was and think for a moment that I am better off. Hell, I can even feel better off and free of the weight on my shoulders. However, when I see her, I see the person I fell in love with again. She is still playing video games and I have no way of knowing how much time is spent doing this, but I do know it's not anything like it was. Every time I see her, I can't help but want this special person I married back. I've been trying to get this woman back for years, but I was unable to get her out of her rut and eventually fell into it with her. It's relationship ambivalence, like is discussed in Too Good to Leave, Too Bad to Stay. That's exactly what happened to us. We sort of slowly stopped trying or caring. If these changes could stick, so to speak, I would love to. Or I am trying to not be too hopeful, but the days I see her in person I really can't help but miss her. She had said she doesn't know what she wants. Been moved out 3 months now. And a little over a week ago was the hug and I don't know what I want talk. How much longer is a reasonable time frame to expect she might figure out if she wants R or not? I'm just curious at what point I should basically consider it hopeless essentially. She has gotten my hopes way up after last week. So basically, I'm asking is at what point do I assume this was a moment of weakness or maybe even a ploy to soften me up before court and just accept it as over and her having no intentions for R. Tonight, when she called and let me say goodnight to S4, I talked to him about taking him Thursday to the movies to see the new Monsters movie. He is very excited about this and was talking about it a lot. I asked my W if I could take my stepdaughter to about a week and a half ago and she said that would be fine. Somewhere in there I told her she could go if she wanted. Anyway, tonight she decided to start talking to S4 while he was on the phone with me. She started asking him about the movie until he asked if she'd go too. Once she got on the phone, first thing out of her mouth was, "Looks like I'm going with you to the movies. He wants me to go." She so baited him into that like I couldn't hear her on the phone. Nowhere else in the call did she interfere with the call. It's fine, it doesn't bother me, but seriously, what's the point of this? She was already told she could come with us. Why does she need to get S4 to ask her to go? After S4 got off the phone and I talked to her, we talked for like 5 minutes about my stepdaughter and her behavior with her brother, which is improving a lot from what I hear. She seems to want to stay on the phone with me, which is fine if I get to hear how my stepdaughter is doing since I don't see her, and I get to find out what S4 has been doing all day, as 4-year-old don't exactly tell you anything. She talks more and more about the negatives of the broken family. I'll take that as a good sign. Hopefully she is actually spending some time thinking about this. I'm excited for Thursday's movie. I'll get to see my stepdaughter and do something fun with both kids. And yes, I can't help but be happy she is coming along. It'll be interesting to see what she does. Wonder if she'll make a point to keep a kid in a seat between us, or maybe do things the other way around. I know it's not according to the 180, and I knew that the moment I said she could go the other week, and was thinking, whoops, there I go again screwing that 180 up. But it was said, the offer was made, and she is welcome to come. Something I forgot to throw in about tomorrow night: she had previously made plans with a friend and is going to talk to that friend tonight and see what's up. Friend's sister is in town and she doesn't want to bail on her friend, so we're possibly going out, just us, possibly going out with them, or it's possible she is just going out with her friend. Still, she said she has to ask her friend before she cancels or invites me. My W is big in not breaking plans. I was getting the feeling like I was plan B for Seta though, like she doesn't want me to meet her new friend. So, I plan on going out with her without her. Make use of the babysitter. I let her know last night it's not a big deal if she wants to go with her friend and we can do something another night. I'll just go out and do something else. Must have said something wrong because she stopped texting me back. We all know Sunday is me weekday. I tend to really miss my family as I return S4 on Sunday, see my stepdaughter for about a minute and my W for a minute. I almost asked her to put the D on hold today. Glad I didn't, because she needs to ask me to do that. On a good note, for me anyway, she had a terrible day and I didn't try and fix any of it. Of course I might have had she called me earlier in the day. She stayed out till 5 a.m. with her friend she went with Sat night. Her friend wouldn't give up her car keys. My W would drove home drunk, so she got another friend to take her home. Once home she realized she didn't have a key to get inside, so she calls a locksmith and has them get her inside and put on new locks. Then her friend who she was out with, her neighbor, never came home, so my W is without a car key. She spends $500 at the dealer to get a new key that matches her car. That is dumb. I could have brought S4 to her no problem had she asked, and her friend would have been home with her keys eventually. My W is normally an extremely smart person. Lately though that is not the case. I cannot help but think the stress and her sudden fun freedom are taking their toll on her. I feel bad for her, but there is nothing I can do. She has to learn this lesson herself. Wednesday is mediation. She has agreed to base child support on her earning $12 an hour instead of what she really makes, as she feels $12 divided by HR is a fair wage for her. I was thinking 12 to 15 per hour is what I consider fair for her. My problem with accepting this is that it leaves us going to court to fight over one holiday. That is likely to piss the judge off. I am thinking I may be better off going to court to fight about money and one holiday instead. What do you guys think? My only problem with Christmas is I will not accept that S4 has to open presents at one person's house before Christmas morning, which is before Santa delivers them. I offered to split the holiday at just about any time after Christmas morning so we both get him that day. She won't accept that. Then again, if I go into court only fighting about one holiday, and I have printed my emails offering Christmas be split many ways. I think I offered 5 or 6 different ways to split it. I even offered to divide it any way she wanted as long as it met my one term, that he opens gifts at both houses after Santa delivers them. Even if it was on the 26th, I'd take that. Maybe with this, if that's all we're in court for, the judge will be mad at her and not at me for this being an issue. So, what to do at mediation? Accept her support calculation. It's the lowest hourly wage. I was okay with her using as her income, and she didn't know that ahead of time. Or don't accept it and go to court so as to avoid only going to court over Christmas. I won't budge on my Christmas issue, and even if I was okay with it, I won't go out of my way to be divorced and done when she is still thinking about trying. I also offered to grab a box of fireworks and get together with her on the 4th so the kids can have the day together. She is unsure she wants to. I'm not sure why she won't say yes to this. I get S4 this year on the 4th, so I figured she would feel she was missing out otherwise. Need to know where to go from here. I talked to her for a little while tonight and we discussed mediation. And as far as mediation, she says she does not want to go to a hearing and wants this settled Wednesday in mediation. Once we were talking about she said she has to work on her issues first and then on us, and that she does not expect me to wait around. I am glad she has finally decided to work on her issues. We both needed to. I suggested she take time to consider putting the D on hold. I am more than willing to pay temp child support and slowly work towards I am worried she may be only having these talks to soften me up for mediation court, as she didn't seem to like the idea of pausing the D and letting it sit as is to give her time. I get the feeling when talking to her that is a real possibility, and that it is something she wants to do but is not ready to try yet. But I can't help but have the suspicion that it's just a trick to make me weak in court. I am considering calling her tomorrow and telling her I want to put the D on hold to see what she says. If we were to do that, we have to do it before 2 p.m. tomorrow in order to get mediation cancelled without penalty. The way I figure it is, if she is even remotely considering our seriously, the offer to put the D on hold and receive child support is something not to pass up. Removes a lot of stress having to deal with the D, and she gets her money as if we went to court. Plus, she can go down and set a court date at any time she wants to resume the D. We don't have to start it all over again. My marriage means a lot to me. I do not want to get divorced if R is something that may happen. There is also no benefit to her going along with this if she is just trying to soften me up. Only benefit is if she is considering R. What do you guys think? Also, her and my stepdaughter are coming over on the 4th so we can do fireworks, BBQ, and swimming with the kids together. I don't want to keep them apart for things like this, and as long as R is possibly on the table, I'll take every opportunity I get to get us all together. It just makes no sense to me how she could be considering working towards R yet still want a D. I fully understand that D is not the end if we want. We could remarry later. However, I am completely against D if we are talking R. Just goes against my beliefs on the subject. You are right though, it did annoy her to talk about putting it on hold. Her reasons for that were she wants it over with so she doesn't have to worry about it anymore. Sadly, I couldn't see her physical reaction. Was over the phone, but I got a slight hint of an annoyed stress sign followed by her saying she just wants it done so it's one less problem she is hanging over her. She really did sound stressed out about it all too. You know, I could see my W acting this way to not say anything to hurt me. She is like that. Plays the cold-hearted B to others well but isn't able to do that with me. You guys are right, I am just letting my wanting R to get in my way. Also, as far as blaming me for her not being happy, she is actually down to accepting the fact that she has personal problems that caused much of this. I am very proud of her for this. It's a huge step. She is no longer saying you did or didn't do this and is now saying she didn't do things correctly and that she needs professional help. I am hopeful still that she means it all, but who knows. Despite how she's treated me, I have already forgiven her. I only want her to finish working on herself, then hopefully work on us. I want my wife and family back more than anything. We have discussed the EA-PIA issue a few times. She clearly was having an EA on some level. I believe her that she was only starting to have feelings for this online friend, and that's all that there was to it. She recently told me more about it, without being asked to. She told me she realized one night she was more interested in him than me, and that was kind of her final sign it was time to go. As far as the pizza place goes, there may be someone there. Or it may just be the fact I know her boss, female, is bashing me and talking to her about not getting back together. I've seen how her boss looks at me. I know that's what she thinks. Also, I can tell someone's got her ear there, as our pattern is Thursday things are great, Friday she goes to work and it's crap between us again. I am thinking of bringing this up actually, as it's starting to piss me off. The neighbor has been talked about a few times. He's an issue for me, but she doesn't seem to think he is a big deal because he was once and didn't matter to her. I can see my wife really thinking this way, as sleeping with someone to her is not a big deal, but if we get to talking seriously about R, he is on my list of things to discuss. The waxing thing I'm not sure on. I am not sure what to think of this. You are right, most women would only do this for someone else. I could see her trying to do it again to prove to herself she is out on her own and can do anything. She failed to finish the job on a few waxing attempts before. I have no way of knowing for sure, so I'll just keep it in mind and try to remember to observe for more things like this. Manipulation. I can see that it's there. I've never known her to be manipulative more than the next person, so for now I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. I know you're probably thinking I'm nuts as I give her too much leeway on this issues. Thing is, she has always been very honest. I have learned her body language when she is telling me a truth she is not happy about, and when she is lying or neglecting to mention something. When I remember to pay attention, like when I ask and she answers, I can clearly see these things. I have caught her in a few lies in the last few months, but most things she voluntarily tells me without my asking. She used to open up and just tell me everything. She is starting to do this again. She really does not have anyone to talk to, and I want to know what's going on in her thought process, so I am open to listening as long as I think R is possible. All the things listed are things I can or have forgiven her for and won't let stand in the way of R. I just might need a few things from her, like no contact with a few of them. What's my next move at this point? Do I just wait to see if she asks for us to do anything together, brings up R, or do I act? The things we have done in the last few weeks, all by my inviting her, have worked out well for me. But I am wondering if it's time to pull back and let her miss what we have been having these last few weeks, something I will have a hard time doing without conscious effort. She keeps talking about being focused on finding a job and not wanting to think about us until she has that done. I am kind of tired of the "I'm confused but I don't have time to think about things" line. It makes no sense. No work equals tons of time to think. I have started to wonder if this is an issue I should mention or if I should not wait and just act, doing what I don't know. I will see her Thursday when I pick up S4. I will be too busy tonight to talk to her. Busy night at work tonight. I got a lot going on, might even be a nightery. So that will be 2 nights in a row we haven't talked at all. Today was a great day. Had a lot of fun with S4 and SD. Had a few interesting things to it though. At one point my SD said, and this is the second time I've heard this, "You only want to see me to get close to my mom." So, I asked her since Mom wasn't around this time, where she heard that. Mom told her 2 months ago. I told my W what SD said and asked. She did tell her that, and it was months ago. At least I know for sure where she is getting it now. I stayed for a while at her place when I took SD back. We laid down in bed for a bit. She was tired and the kids watched a movie. Only talked a little bit. She says we have 2 big things going against us if we try to work on things. Me and her. She also still thinks she is not cut out for a relationship. She is not prime relationship material, but her issues can be dealt with if she chooses to deal with them. SD again. Once my W woke up and we were lying in bed talking, my SD would not leave us alone. Gives me these dirty looks like saying haha. I know you wish I would leave you 2 alone, but I won't. Even has a little grin when she is doing it. Nice reminder of how she has always purposely done things to bother people just because she likes to. I do not understand this behavior at all. I know she doesn't fully understand what all is going on, but it's flat out rude. She knows it and is relishing in that fact. Worst part is I really can't say anything. My W uses it to avoid conversation. Not really anything I can do to influence that. She needs to decide to deal with them and do it on her own. I've offered the only help in this area I can, to watch SD during her therapy appointments, only if they are on Thursday when I drive across town to get S4 anyway. I am going to ask for SD again one day next weekend, Friday again. Maybe I might even ask to just get S4 on Friday also and cut out having my mom babysit until 3 a.m. at my house Thursday night. I know that is wearing on my mom. So, I have had about enough of her hiding from talking by keeping the kids around her. Today when she picked up both kids at my work, I decided we are going out without them next weekend. I am amazed this went as well as it did too. I asked her to pick a night, Friday or Saturday, for next weekend. When she asked why, I told her we were going out and I needed to line up a babysitter. She tried for a moment to use SD as an excuse, but I told her I'd handle her getting watched too if she can't figure it out. No more argument. I'm getting her away from the kids so I can talk to her. I need to know if we are done or not. I can't stall the divorce more than another 2 weeks without her signing off on a continuance. So, in the next weeks I can sign D papers or sign continuance papers. I'm signing something. Hopefully I am not pushing too hard, but time's up on this. I can't stop talking to her. Even with everything that has happened, I still miss her. I believe her when she says she is going to work on her issues before she wants to work on us. Somehow it makes sense. I've got nowhere else to be, so I might as well stick it out and see where this goes. After the conversations we have had this week, I have been able to accept that she can't commit to working on the marriage right now. But when I talk to her, I can see that she is holding back on that because she thinks she is bad. She's always had that thought. I used to try and fix it, which never worked. Maybe if she gets into therapy, she has a doctor's referral to a psychiatrist now, maybe she can resolve her problems. I have a new respect for how messed up her childhood was after some of the reading I have done this week. I never looked into how badly being exed by her father and her mom never believing her could screw up a person. I completely understand how the other abuse messes people from my own experience. I'm going to continue with my IC and hope she makes progress in hers. I'll also continue to spend time with her and with the kids and just see where this takes me. Tomorrow, or today depending on how you look at it, Friday night when she gets off work, we are going to catch a showdown on the strip at one of the hotels. My parents are watching the kids overnight and I'm looking forward to just going and having a good time together. Not even after trying to get answers. I've gotten a lot of those this week and I will post the new stuff from those talks sometime tomorrow if I have time. She stayed over last night with the kids. We watched a new movie, then after the kids went to sleep, we talked a bit. We talked a little more of her Ia and she ran me through the whole thing. When it started, January, how it escalated, that she wrongly justified it as okay because she wasn't happy and it wasn't physical. Then she shamefully said, so there you have it, that's how it happened. She also admits to it being a mistake but has not used the word sorry. She did say that she has learned from the experience and sees how she let it happen. It's interesting talking to her, watching how she acts while she says some of this stuff. Looks down, shamefully during admissions, or away. She knows she messed up, she feels bad about it, she can't seem to apologize for it, but that's okay. Other than that, we kept things light. Messed around a little in bed then went to sleep. I was running on 10 hours of sleep total for 3 days, so I was done. Got up this morning and went for pancakes, then came home and went swimming for a few hours with the kids. She even wore a bikini, haven't seen that since shortly after the honeymoon. Had a great day with all of us together. She is even getting more, not sure what to call this, but now when I go up to her, she will turn and put my arms around her to hold her. Even got some in the shower after swimming. Things are definitely improving. As long as she continues to work on her issues and not stay glued to a game, I'm excited to see where this goes. I do love my wife, it is more than attachment. I know I've gotten off track this last few weeks and potentially may have slowed or undone progress by doing so. My wife will on some level address her issues and improve to some degree. I'm hopeful it's a big improvement, but even a little would be fine. Although housekeeping hasn't improved at all, I just looked under her desk and saw a litter box with some poo in it. She hasn't had a cat in at least 2 months. Out of sight, out of mind. Just felt I share that as I'm looking at it right now. I'll have to remember it's there for next time she complains about something dirty at my house. She had to set boundaries and didn't want me getting used to coming over. After that movie we watched at her place, we went back to the bedroom and fooled around for a while. While sleeping with her, I stopped because she had flipped over to face away and was hiding her face from me so I wouldn't see she was upset. When asked what was wrong, she insisted I finish, which I would not do. After a little prying, I got her to admit that she was only sleeping with me last night because I took her to the movies and she didn't want me to think she's a tease or she was using me for going to the movies. I said, so basically, you'd rather sleep with me and feel I'm using you for bonding than have me think you're possibly using me. She got more upset and I told her I don't want to sleep with you if that's the reason. When you want to sleep with me because you want to and by because you think you should, that's when I want to. Then laid down next to her to go to sleep. After a few minutes she rolled over and we had one of the best makeout sessions, followed by some of the best bonding I've had in years. Afterwards she started talking about some of her issues in bed. She can't get off unless very specific things happen. I think they are tied to her father her, and we talked about that connection a bit. Was a nice night. She slept scooted back by me all night, which is unusual as she normally sprawls out and doesn't want to be held. This morning I brought in a bag with deodorant, toothbrush, razor, and shaving cream and am keeping those things there now. I will be back over there later tonight. Edit, she wants to stay at my place tonight. On her way over now. Court granted a 90-day continuance, thankfully. I was so stressed out yesterday about this that I screwed up pretty good last night at work. Luckily my boss knows what's going on and cut me a break. I'm sure his boss knows about it by now though. The paperwork I filed last week still never showed up in the system. Wonder what happened. In her mind the PIA wasn't a PIA, her IA turned PIA after she left me. I think she understands it was a PIA but chooses to hide behind the "I already left you so it wasn't wrong" excuse. You know that look a kid gets when they are forced to admit they did something wrong and knew it was wrong. That's her when we talk about it. I know she feels bad, it couldn't be any more obvious. She had the IA from Jan March, then moved out. Slept with her neighbor, a one-night deal 2 to 3 weeks later. Her IA flew to town for an unknown time period 2 months after she had moved out and she slept with him. I have asked her if I know everything now. She said yes and I believe her. Today was interesting. She had a bit of a breakdown. What I've learned. She is a month behind on all her bills. We've known 1 month's rent is on a Crest card so far. She doesn't have the money to pay rent and can't put another month on her card. Financial aid for school has not come through. She just dropped her classes this morning. No classes equals no financial aid equals no applying for grants. Her one class she needed to take this semester, a lab, opened up but she has no one to watch the kids. Next month, if she is still without a better job, one of the welfare programs she is on will require her to volunteer her time at organizations to stay on the program. Unless she is in school. Basically, everything is falling apart for her. I'm not sure what to do. I want to help but I know I cannot unless asked. What help should I be willing to offer? I do not want to see her forced to move out of state. That's not an option. She asked me today if her lab for a science class opens up at a time of day. She can take it if I would front her $300 and she would repay me when financial aid repaid her. I agreed, but only for that one class, not for the ones she doesn't need this semester. That's why she dropped those this morning. That would keep her on her program from welfare at least. I think I'm at the point I am helping as much as I am willing to do without working on the relationship. Fronting her money for that class was a stretch for me, but I can see the reward if it prolongs her welfare checks and keeps her in town, keeps her not desperate enough to talk strictly for the money, making that a necessary move. Oh, I'm fronting her the money for that class. She is giving me her wedding ring set from her first marriage to sell and return the money minus the fees to eBay and the money for the class. I don't mind listing the ring for her. I've actually had it listed once before trying to sell it, but I was trying to get top dollar back then for it then, as we didn't need the money terribly. Her first marriage was meaningless. She dumped him, then found out she was pregnant, so they got back together and got married. That of course didn't last long. The ring has no symbolic value to her. Is the red flag the fact that she got back together with him due to the pregnancy, or the fact the marriage was meaningless? It was meaningless. My understanding of it was he left him because he was a pill-popping loser. They hadn't dated long and then found out she was pregnant, so she got back with him when he promised to change, and married him because she felt she should for the kid. He didn't change. When she left him the second time, he quit his welding job because he disliked it, moved in with his mom who also has a pill problem, and worked at McDonald's. She was 21. We all think idealistically at that age, don't we? I did. So, I was not expecting to go to her place tonight but was going to be there first thing in the morning to get the kids. Got this text: "Can you bring me some tea for the morning when you come tonight?" She's thrown out a few comments similar to what I've seen in the fitness test thread tonight, and I have to admit deflecting them with humor and confidence and not taking them seriously at all sure is a better approach. I'm learning. I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm no longer codependent, but I am trying. I have to say there's a significant difference in how things work when I do not fix freely without being asked. Still waiting to see if she will ask me to watch the kids for all her classes, or as I suspect she will just take it one class at a time to avoid asking for a lot at once. It is a very risky relationship. I often wonder if I am being used. But I've started to look at it like this: walk away and wonder if I was wrong forever, or try and see what happens, and one way or the other knowing will be less painful than wondering. I'd even say odds are not in my favor just looking at facts. If I moved in officially, yes, I would share the rent and utilities. If I move in officially, she can't hide me and keep welfare going, so she wouldn't be able to afford her half. We would have to financially be one again, and that won't happen without some MC, because we need to learn to work together this time around. Even as things are, I am much happier here at her apartment than I was on my own. Things are different between us. She asks and is thankful when I do things for her. She does still seem to try and have me do stuff without asking, but overall, I think things are getting better. And I love being here with the kids too. Went and spent 5 hours yesterday getting my tattoo worked on, then we were supposed to go out. Had it set up to drop the kids at my mom's and go to dinner and a movie. Mom's are 20 miles away from her place. She wanted me to just put them in the daycare at the casino so we didn't have to drive across town. That would cost me about $22 an hour. I said no, my mom is a free babysitter and gas is way cheaper. I'm not blowing $60 on childcare so we can watch a movie. She got a little upset about going to a movie on the trashy side of town, so we didn't go. We all went to the buffet out here instead. I don't think she's too upset about not getting her way, but she used to always get things her way. Another thing interesting. The other day I did laundry here and I put one of her shirts on her bed clean. She threw it back into my clothes later. I found it and said something, to which she replied, "That's not mine, it's your girlfriend's. And I don't appreciate you bringing them over here when I'm not home." I told her it's her shirt and tossed it back in her bed. I just found it folded up in my clothes again. Last night she made a comment about me catching up with my girlfriend while I was reading on my phone. I'm not sure what to do with all the GF accusations, but I've been here 9 nights in a row. Where am I having this relationship? Logic is clearly not being used in this, but she clearly cares if I had a GF that's good. She keeps telling me it's okay that I am seeing someone else. Not sure where to go with this, as I've tried the logical and I've tried the dismissing it quickly, and it has come up a few times in the last few days. Oh, and I woke up twice last night to her putting lotion on my tattoo. To sum things up, I had told her I wasn't interested in R unless she got more hours, as she was not a very good stay-at-home mom and played video games all day while I supported her for years. She is, however, in school now, going to be a nurse, so I will take that as something productive her time is being used for. She does still play that game, but her EAP is no longer playing with her. Long story short, he threatened her when she broke it off and was harassing her and threatening to post nude pics of her online. She has the police involved. I am moving in at the end of the month and told her that I am not willing to move in without MC, so we will be starting MC this month. I am completely aware I fall into the Plan B possibility, and that is a risk I am prepared to take. I truly love my wife and my family. Why comment? OP accepted the fact that he might be Plan B. He accepted what I preach against here. If only he saw the other side.